We had to park a block away from the Anne Frank house, and then while Leadvi stood in line to get tickets for us, I sat with my back against a little tree, looking at all the moored houseboats in the Prisengrat Canal. Augustus was standing above me, rolling my oxygen cart in lazy circles, just watching the wheels spin. I wanted him to sit next to me, but I knew it was hard for him to sit, and harder still to stand back up.
Okay?
I shrugged and reached a hand for his calf. It was his fake calf, but I held on to it. He looked down at me. I wanted, I said.
I know. Apparently the world is not a wish-granting factory.
That made me smile a little. Leadvi returned with the tickets, but her thin lips were pursed with worry. "There is no elevator," she said. "I am very, very sorry." "It's okay," I said. "No. There are many stairs," she said. "Steep stairs." "It's okay," I said again. Augustus started to say something, but I interrupted. "It's okay. I can do it." We began in a room with a video about Jews in Holland and the Nazi invasion and the Frank family. Then we walked upstairs into the canal house where Otto Frank's business had been. The stairs were slow for me and Augustus both, but I felt strong. Soon I was staring at the famous bookcase that had hid Anne Frank, her family, and 4 others. The bookcase was half open, and behind it was an even steeper set of stairs, only wide enough for 1 person. There were fellow visitors all around us, and I didn't want to hold up the procession, but Leadvi said, "If everyone could be patient, please." And I began the walk up, Leadvi carrying the cart behind me, Gus behind her. It was 14 steps. I kept thinking about the people behind me. They were mostly adults speaking a variety of languages, and feeling embarrassed or whatever, feeling like a ghost that both comforts and haunts. But finally, I made it up, and then I was in an eerily empty room, leaning against the wall, my brain telling my lungs, "It's okay, calm down, it's okay," and my lungs telling my brain, oh God, we're dying here." I didn't even see Augustus come upstairs, but he came over and wiped his brow at the back of his hand like, phew. After a few minutes of wall leaning, I made it to the next room, which Anne had shared with the dentist Fritz Pfeffer. It was tiny, empty of all furniture. You'd never know anyone had lived there, except that the pictures Anne had pasted onto the wall from magazines and newspapers were still there. Another staircase led up to the room where the Van Pels family had lived. This one steeper than the last, and 18 steps, essentially a glorified ladder. I got to the threshold and looked up, and figured I could not do it, but also knew the only way through was up.
Let's go back.
I'm okay. It's stupid, but I kept thinking I owed it to her, to Anne Frank, I mean, because she was dead and I wasn't, because she had stayed quiet and kept the blinds drawn and done everything right and still died, and so I should go up the steps and see the rest of the world she'd lived in those years before the Gestapo came. I began to climb the stairs, crawling up them like a little kid would, slow at first, so I could breathe, but then faster, because I knew I couldn't breathe, and I wanted to get to the top before everything gave out. The blackness encroached around my field of vision as I pulled myself up, 18 steps, steep as hell. But I finally crested the staircase, mostly blind and nauseated, the muscles in my arms and legs screaming for oxygen. I slumped seated against a wall, heaving watered-down coughs. There was an empty glass case bolted to the wall above me, and I stared up through it to the ceiling and tried not to pass out. Leadvi crouched down next to me, saying, "You're at the top. That is it." And I nodded. I had a vague awareness of the adults all around glancing down at me worriedly, of Leadvi speaking quietly in one language, and then another to various visitors, of Augustus standing above me, his hand on the top of my head, stroking my hair along the part. After a long time, Leadvi and Augustus pulled me to my feet, and I saw what was protected by the glass case. Pencil marks on the wallpaper measuring the growth of all the children in the annex during the period they lived there, inch after inch, until they would grow no more. From there, we left the Franks' living area, but we're still in the museum. A long, narrow hallway showed pictures of each of the annex's 8 residents and described how and where and when they died. The only member of his whole family who survived the war, Levi told us, referring to Anne's father, Otto.
But he didn't survive a war, not really. He survived a genocide.
True, Levi said. I do not know how you go on without your family. I do not know. As I read about each of the 7 who died, I thought of Otto Frank not being a father anymore, left with a diary instead of a wife and 2 daughters. At the end of the hallway, a huge book, bigger than a dictionary, contained the names of the 103,000 dead from the Netherlands in the Holocaust. Only 5,000 of the deported Dutch Jews, a wall label explained, had survived. 5,000 Otto Franks. The book was turned to the page with Anne Frank's name, but what got me about it was the fact that right beneath her name, there were 4 Aaron Franks. 4. 4 Aaron Franks without museums, without historical markers, without anyone to mourn them. I silently resolved to remember and pray for the 4 Aaron Franks as long as I was around. Maybe some people need to believe in a proper and omnipotent God to pray, but I don't.